So welcome to another episode of Just the Tip. We have a special guest this time around, Britt Townley.
Hi.
With Semper Realty. And obviously we have our co-host with us, Mr. Mike Villano, Mrs. Brooke Villano. And we wanted to just kind of get a little bit of a take on Brittany's story because when we first came to Idaho and did a VA home loan boot camp, they stuck out because they were very vocal in the front. Her husband, Brian, otherwise known as Bam, is a rather large Marine and was very passionate about, their situation. So I think we'll just jump right into it and talk about what's the story? I mean, you were stationed in Camp Pendleton, right? And needed to, so what's the situation?
So we were about 30 minutes north from Camp Pendleton. We owned a home in Temecula, California, if you're familiar.
I am.
My
dad was from there. Yeah. I lived there for a while.
Yeah, you should see it lately.
Yes.
No offense. But we owned a home there, bought in 2009 when the market was just starting to kind of make a comeback, used his VA loan. We lived there for 8 years. We decided to make the transition to Idaho when he got out of the military. And we decided to list our house. Well, in order to make it to Idaho, we spoke with a lender, and who better than to listen to than a lender? You guys are licensed, right? Same with agents. This lender had instructed us that in order to move forward with a VA loan, we could not move forward since we already have it in Temecula. So basically,
they said you couldn't have two VA loans at one time.
Correct.
No, they said you can't even have another VA loan.
Right, as long as we have one active.
One time and that's it.
Yeah.
One time, one and done. Now, we asked if we sell it and we pay it off, can we reuse it again? Sure. And she was very specific in saying that no, that is not going to work. So moving forward, we, just a smaller family at the time, didn't have the 20% down that was required for what we wanted to do here in Idaho. And so we were kind of advised to drain, or the exact words, our 401k in order to use that money for a down payment since we couldn't use the VA loan. So as this whole process is unfolding, Brian and I are realizing, okay, we're not going to be able to get where we want to be here in Idaho since VA is out of the, it's out of the question. So we weren't going to be able to use that again. So we were stuck renting there for a little while. Flash forward, I would lay in bed and think, after meeting these guys, actually, we met last year, right?
Yep.
At the VA mobile camp. Yep. I became a licensed real estate agent here in Idaho because I didn't like the service that I was given as a veteran spouse, and the fact that there was a lot of lack of knowledge. And since I am married to a Marine, you'd think that I would have all the resources I needed, which they are out there, but meaning we didn't have someone kind of guiding us through the process. I didn't know what questions to ask. So after meeting these guys at a real estate agent benefit, where it could educate us on the VA home loan process, like Ron said, we were very vocal in this room on, I guess, the shock factor and the discuss on what we were learning at this event versus what we were told. And it hit us so hard that it almost made us question if it was even legal, the information I was given.
Yeah. Wow.
I think that's when I fell in love with you.
Yeah.
You guys were pounding the table, and
I was
they were so mad. So
it was really frustrating because you think you know everything in regards to their benefits, and there's a lot of good places that do a good job of preparing a veteran for when they get out. But what's super important, what I noticed was the little details and the fine details when it comes down to the VA home loan. And all these myths that are out there, the fact that you can use the VA home loan multiple times.
Yeah.
And that you don't have to put money down. And it's just...
You don't have to liquidate your 401k.
Yeah, exactly.
And pay penalties.
Exactly, for sure.
So is that what it ended up happening? Did you ended up draining the 401k?
Yep, we pulled from it. We're penalized, taxed severely. And during this whole time, we're thinking that we're going to be able to use it to finally put the money down. And we ended up selling our house. And because we were told we couldn't use the VA home loan again, we just decided that this isn't the right step. So not only did we not use our VA home loan again because we were told we couldn't, but we pulled our 401k for no reason.
Yeah.
So we didn't even put it to the use that we were instructed that would benefit us at the time.
Wow.
So this loss was just massive.
It was massive,
financially and in so many other ways.
And that's why I touched on that one time when I was laying in bed and we were talking. I'm like, if this happened to us, like how many other vets is this happening to? And it made me wake up like, okay, I'm gonna get licensed to be in real estate. So if I could do the best I can and kind of showing that veteran that process and making sure that they talk to not just a veteran home loan certified, right? Like it's an expert, right? Like a specialist in regards to it.
There's no certification, and that's the problem. You have lenders that just get licensed to become loan officers, but there's nothing that says you have to understand the VA loan properly, and you have to do this many VA loans to be able to originate the VA loan. There's no requirements there. So you literally could have 200 loan officers that really don't know the benefit, the VA home loan benefit, and they're giving misinformation. And most of the time, they're not meaning to give wrong information, but they were taught wrong information.
Or just don't know. I remember when I got licensed, there's a couple tidbits that I saw from, the course that I was like, oh, that's awesome. And this is awesome. And, people don't know about this piece, right? And then I start working with Veterans Lending Group, and I'm like, what? I don't know any of this. None of this was covered. How it needs to be structured. What's this thing about DTI? What about residual income? And all the different things that we have to know to package it properly, so that we set veteran families up for success versus failure. And it was just an eye opener. And literally, even now, here we are, 4 years later, and things are still changing, and we're still learning, and different circumstances, and so on and so forth. And it's just an eye opener. So the question is, the lender that you were working with, were they claiming to be VA home loan specialists?
VA specialists.
No way.
So it's an overwhelming feeling, and that's why I feel so passionate about it. And if Brian was here, he'd speak the same way. It's like, as a veteran, you put your trust in someone who claims to know your benefits, and so when they give you miscalculate or misread information, you follow that, and you don't think to investigate or confirm that. And that's why when I sat there that day, it literally an overwhelming feeling. And then you turn around, you look at the audience and how many vets ranging from young guys to an older generation. Right. You're just like, holy cow, even some of the older generation just not knowing. So it almost breaks your heart in a way, because these guys go their lifetimes without knowing or even utilizing their benefits and what the VA home loan could do.
Yeah.
Or they're stuck in something, similar to that. We've had many people that come back in a super high interest rate conventional loan with their benefit fully intact. And I asked them, why didn't you use that? Oh, I was told that I couldn't. I was told that the fees were too high.
I didn't qualify.
I was told I didn't qualify.
Yeah.
I was told it wasn't available to me. I mean, I can go on, and it's just, and every time it's like, no, that's a no.
Well, and imagine how that feels to the military community who, you go overseas and you serve, or maybe you don't, maybe you never deploy, but for those that deployed and they served and they had brothers that they served with that died in combat, or got injured or came back with PTSD, you sacrifice so much as a military family. The spouses, you sacrifice, being home and raising kids when your spouses are gone downrange or training, and then you're told, no, you can't use that benefit, that thing that you work so hard for, one of the greatest benefits of being in the military. No, you can't use that because either I'm too lazy of a loan officer to want to take you down that path, or I'm just going to put you in this other program because it's easier, or I just never tried to understand it. So, and no one's regulating that. No one's telling me I can't do this loan program unless I really understand it to make sure I'm serving the veteran community properly.
Yeah.
Right. And you said another thing too about researching it and the fact that, you probably had, I know you're a smart lady. You would have gone after it, you research and learn things, but you didn't even know where to go, huh? I didn't even know where to find this stuff.
And it's hard, especially when someone puts the title as like a VA specialist.
That's it.
It's this superficial title that we take so heavy, but it's used so lightly that, like I said, it makes you almost not want to challenge what they say, because I don't have the title as a consumer, but they do. And the same problem I ran into in regards to licensed real estate agents is a lot of clients and customers will start off with an agent before finding a lender, and a lot of the education lacks in regards to agents like myself, hence why, yes, I know on one side of it as the spouse to look into it, but as an agent, I'm like, okay, how can I better address and route these bets to a lender who knows what they're talking about? The same thing applies to when we go under contract to make sure certain things are covered. Yep. So it's this cycle on who all is involved in this real estate transaction to make sure that vet is taken care of from beginning contract to after. Yeah, it's super important.
Yeah. It's a huge deal. I mean, I like that you that you brought up that term, the VA specialist. We've been seeing it heavy. In fact, I think we even didn't we do another one of these on that? Yeah. And it's just been, I don't even, it's been going on for a while, but like recently it's huge. It's blowing up. Everybody's just bing, 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 bing. VA specialists everywhere. And so, so Brooke and I even did a little bit of research locally where we're at. All these people that get tagged in a lot of military threads, spouse threads, whatnot. And we see, this lender, this lender, this lender. Well, we look them up because we can look these people
I
up.
don't even know who they
I don't
are.
know who this person is, and what are they doing? And I'm telling you that volume wise, it's usually pretty low. And then percentage of VA outside of that, we didn't come across one person that was over 10%. And if you're not over 10% and your volume, I'll just throw you a long one here and say is 20 million, which no one's really was. I think it was one guy. That really you break that down, your number is like
one VA loan or less.
You did like a couple VA loans. This is over a 12-month span.
Yeah.
So, and I'm here to tell you, doing 150 VA loans a year, 2 VA loans a year isn't going to cut it. It's not cutting it. You're not a VA specialist.
Even if you're doing one a month, one VA loan a month, you're not running into, and the problem is not every VA loan is exactly the same. When I train new loan officers, I tell them, I'm going to train you. I could train you on 100 loans, and not one of those 100 loans is going to be exactly the same. Yeah. So literally, a loan officer could do 100 VA loans a year and still not know all of the ins and outs and the things that you're going to run into with the VA loan program. There's unique stuff that comes up all the time, whether it's because National Guard and reserves are different than active Army, active Navy, Marines.
So many moving parts
There's
too
just
between
so many
every
moving
buyer in their
parts.
scenario.
And the fact of the matter is, I was here last year exactly this time because we did a boot camp and a lunch and learn here last year. I was doing some research. I'm looking for loan officers because we're looking to grow this market. Boise opened up a VA specialty, obviously Veterans Lending Group here. I was looking for some loan officers that had VA experience. I found literally like 1 or 2 people, and they did not call themselves VA specialists at that time, which was honorable because they maybe not doing enough business to do that. Yesterday and today, I've Googled the same thing here in Boise, and I found 3 VA specialists. VA loan specialists within the last 12 months that have just now popped up, and now suddenly they're VA specialists.
Yeah.
So
just because you're a veteran does not mean that you're a VA specialist.
And most people aren't even veterans.
Just because you're a lender or a realtor doesn't
mean you're. Yeah, and it's like at best we knew that we have a benefit, but what does that look like? I mean, it's the same thing, right? It's
we were talking about it earlier. You take the 60-year-old Vietnam vet, 60-plus-year-old Vietnam vet, right?
Yep.
And he talks to an agent. Agent says, "Oh, are you going to use your VA home?" "Oh, I can't."
Right.
Yeah. And the realtor, because the realtor isn't educated on the new laws and the ways of the land in regards to this, that they're not going to say, "Well, yes, you can." You know what I mean? So
look into that. Right.
So exactly, it stops right there.
They're going to go, "Okay, so then we'll get you a conventional loan."
Yeah.
And they just move right through it.
Yeah. So that's basically the basis of Semper Find Realty, right?
So I work a lot with veterans, have my hand in the veteran community significantly, and I wanted to develop some team or like a resource group in regards to listen, and it's across any platform in regards to veterans that want to become real estate agents or veterans that want to become lenders, something that it's targeted more to them and their learning and their socializing and something that they could grow in essentially. Semper Fi, for those of you familiar with the Marine Corps, it's Semper Fidelis, which means always faithful. And that was really significant for me to mean that we are always faithful in our integrity with real estate and that whole transaction from start to finish, and always adjusting to the changes within the VA. So we basically, in layman's terms, meaning I always want it to be up to speed in regards to their benefits and what they can get from that. So, yep, that's why awesome. I started it.
I think that's great. You know, one thing that we end up getting a lot, whether we're speaking with agents or lenders, when we speak about our niche, is people kind of running from it. They're really scared of it. Realtors, hey, open yourself up to every paycheck in the world.
Don't pigeonhole yourself.
Don't pigeonhole yourself.
Right.
Lenders, same thing. I need to receive.
So I need to be good at everything.
Right. And so when you have somebody such as you and Van at Semper Fi that are running toward a niche like that, you know, it's a pretty safe bet. You know, as a veteran, you're pretty safe to get with this person because at least we know that you're going to have their best interest in mind. If something doesn't sound right, you're going to stop. You're going to question it. You're going to find the answers.
That's exactly it.
Important.
And you have the resources. I think that's another thing. It's not really just finding the answers, but having the proper resources. Because today we all know that there's a million, I don't know how many, hundreds of thousands of VA nonprofits out there, resources for veterans, but you don't necessarily have the time. No one has the time to go research and figure out which one has good people that are going to follow through on what they say they're going to do, and they're going to actually be able to assist you. So I think the fact that you've been working with Wishes for how many years now?
It's our 5th year.
So 5 years working in that
for the nonprofit
network, with your community of military resources, you can take that and translate that very easily to the real estate world, because now you still have those resources to be able to hand off to your clients,
right?
Outside of just home inspection and lender.
Exactly.
You know?
And I like to tell people,
more value.
In a way, it's like at our expense. It's almost a blessing in disguise that we kind of went through that, because I wouldn't be so defensive.
Sure.
You get what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, I have current clients right now who are vets, who are close to our family and actual friends. And the more I get to learn their real estate journey in regards to buying and selling, the more I'm like blown away in regards to what their agent didn't fight for, or what their lender didn't, you know, inform them. And it's crazy, and it's not going to go away. And the education part of it is so important. And I'm just happy you guys are here educating all of us.
So just in a couple parting words, I guess, if you had to just sum it up and give some advice to veterans or service members out there that are, first-time home buyers, or even that are looking at the home, or just in general, what would that advice be?
From experience, and I can say this since I've been married to a Marine, don't be afraid to ask for help in regards to it. And that is such a broad statement, and I mean that wholeheartedly in every aspect of asking for help. But in regards to your benefits and what you're entitled to, there's a lot of guys that I work with that either feel that they don't rate to a certain level, or they don't want to look like they're using the system. They're a little prideful, and I can say that, you know, and you can't be afraid to ask. This is your benefit. That's why you signed that dotted line.
That's right.
It's
use it.
That is, and if you don't know where to start, my biggest advice too is, you know, you could do your due diligence by looking online, but I would ask a fellow veteran, and any type of free seminars or resources that are in your area, utilize it, and then do your due diligence on looking up that company. Is my best advice.
Yeah. So, otherwise, we've heard the story, and there's, many, many more horror stories out there like that. Which is why we want to put these information series together to make sure that you're empowered and understand, so that you can be an advocate for yourself, for your family members, for other veterans, members in your unit, and so on and so forth. So, Britt, thanks so much for coming out. We appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
And we'll catch you all on the next one. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
See you later.